Hello and welcome to what I hope will become a video one day on the channel. I'm going to be trying this ludicrous looking grid, and it's a puzzle called Fillomenon by Darth Paradox. And this has been requested a lot of times, recommended to us a lot of times. And well, the reason I'm going to do it is that I recently recorded myself solving a puzzle called Crux by Jay Dyer, which was an absolute beast of a puzzle. It was incredibly clever. It took me hours to solve it, nearly 3 hours. But there clearly is an audience for even Lord of the Rings length Sudoku videos. And well, everyone who's written in about this assures me that this is going to be a Lord of the Rings length episode. And I did look it up on Logic Masters Germany before I turned on the webcam, and this comment amused me greatly. From KNT, who is a total genius. I found this extremely challenging. Okay. And there was one request we had in about this, saying somebody had taken 15 hours to solve it. Now, if this does take me a ludicrous number of hours, I will have to pause in the middle because I have responsibilities in real life. But I ought to have at least 2.5 hours free now, unencumbered. The doorbell may go, I may have to run off, but hopefully not. But when you prepare for puzzles that might be this difficult, we have to think about these sorts of contingencies. Now, actually, if this does turn into a video, I should also mention that this evening at 8:30 UK time, our Kickstarter is launching. Well, it might, I suppose by the time this video is out, if and when it's released, it will have already launched. Yes, so we have a Kickstarter, Fog-Of-War Kickstarter. Here we are. So very much on topic with Fillomenon by Darth Paradox. Puzzles by Sandra Nala. A narrative written, or basically a story, which we've commissioned from Peter C Hayward. And the art is absolutely beautiful as well, from Haleigh Mooney. So it's something really cool. It's going to be out in time for Christmas. So maybe have a look at that if you enjoy Fog-Of-War puzzles. Now, do I have anything else to say? I don't think so. I mean, I have read these rules once through, and I mean, this is definitely a bit bonkers. I'm just going to, before I read the rules to you, I'm just going to check how large this grid is. 13 is that? It looks square, so 13 by 13. Yeah, I mean, this is ludicrous. So anyway, let's do the rules and then I'll explain why I think it's ludicrous. Draw 9 3x3 boxes into the grid and place the digits 1 to 9 once into each box. Digits within boxes, the Sudoku digits, already a fairly terrifying qualifier there, the Sudoku digits must not repeat in any row or column of the grid. So our first job is to place the Sudoku boxes somewhere in this grid. And then ensure that we don't have a repeated digit in those boxes. And then the instructions say, divide the remaining cells outside of the 9 boxes into orthogonally contiguous regions and fill them according to Fillomenon rules. Every cell contains the size of its region, and no 2 orthogonally adjacent regions may have the same size. No Fillomenon region may be larger than 9 cells. So let's just stop there. I mean, let's imagine 1, 2, 3. Maybe one day this sort of joke will happen. Is that 9 by 9? I was trying to make a 9 by 9. I think that's roughly 9 by 9. So let's imagine that we located the 9 3x3 boxes and they actually formed a big square, like a Sudoku grid like this. Then the rest of the grid, we're being told, has to be filled according to Fillomenon rules. Now, Fillomenon rules work, for example, if that was a Fillomenon region, you would have to write 4 into each of those cells because that is a size 4 region. And then you couldn't have another size 4 Fillomenon region up here because these two size 4 regions would touch one another. So this could be a 5-cell region, and that could be a 1-cell region, etc., etc. So we're going to have to fill the rest of the grid. But the problem is, well, there's many problems. Firstly, unless we're lucky or it's a joke, we're not going to find the 3x3 boxes squeezed into a square like this. They're going to be all over the place. And the Fillomenon regions are presumably going to snake in and out of them. So it already feels very difficult to even start this puzzle, let alone the fact it's covered with fog. Okay, so let me continue with the rules. Right, the clues outside the grid give the sum of the Fillomenon digits in the indicated row or column. I mean, some of these are inequalities as well, which is really unhelpful. Greater than 90. So basically, providing you beat 90, it could be any number. I don't actually know what the limit is down there. What do we got? I suppose, actually, there's a minor point there, isn't there? Which is that we're not allowed to put more than a 9-sized Fillomenon region in the puzzle. And if this is 13 by 13, we could just have all... I mean, I suppose you can't have all 9s down there, because then there'd be 2 9 regions touching each other. So what's 13 times 9? I want to say 117. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? So it's 100. So 117 is not the maximum, because you couldn't do that, but you could maybe have an 8. If you had an 8 there, and then the rest of them were 9s, you could get 116. So greater than 90 is not very restricted. I mean, obviously we're going to require some big numbers, and perhaps not too many Sudoku boxes down column 1, but it doesn't seem very friendly to give inequality answers. Right, let me see. Sudoku digits are not included in the sums. Well, I took that as read when it said that the clues outside the grid give the Fillomenon digits in a row or column. Additionally, a Fillomenon digit must not be adjacent to an identical Sudoku digit. So if we found that was a 3x3 Sudoku box and this square was a 1, and this was Fillomenon, it couldn't be a 1. That couldn't be a 1 either. I think that's what that's saying. Now, clues inside the grid begin hidden by fog. Yes, they do, don't they, Darth Paradox? Thank you very much for that. The fog clears when correct digits are entered. So the usual way this works is, say I got that digit, it would clear all the fog from the surrounding cells. It doesn't clear all the fog in the grid, it just clears the fog from the surrounding cells. Digits along an arrow must sum to the digit in the attached circle. All arrows are single digit sums and do not branch or overlap. Actually it says overlap, but I think it's meant to say or overlap here. Do not branch or overlap. Digits separated by a white dot must be consecutive, and digits separated by a black dot must be in a 1:2 ratio. Not all dots are given. The purple lines contain a set of consecutive, non-repeating digits in any order. I mean, this is all for later, isn't it? Because this is all related to stuff we're going to find under the fog, where it sounds like we've got some arrows, some Ren bands, and some Kropki dots. Anyway, do have a go. I mean, I am assured this is an absolute banger, a great puzzle, but it's meant to take hours, so just make sure you leave yourself some time. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I'm going to come back to this column, because as we were reading through the instructions, I was having thoughts about this. Now, what I was wondering, if we do put a Sudoku box in this column, yeah, my brain is on point there, isn't it? Yeah, this is quite good actually. I mean, it doesn't give us anything of great value, but imagine there is a Sudoku box somewhere in the puzzle that touches column 1. Now, that obviously will then occupy 3 cells in column 1, because it's a 3 by 3 box. And the remaining maximum number of remaining column Fillomenon cells is going to be 10, because it's 13 by 13 grid. And 10 times 9, which is the maximum digit I can put, in fact, in any cell in the puzzle, if I've understood the rules correctly, because I can't have a Fillomenon region that's higher than size, that's bigger than size 9. And obviously I can't have Sudoku, well, Sudoku digits aren't relevant to this greater than 90, but that means the maximum I could make these cells add up to would be exactly 90. And a knowledge bomb, 90 is not greater than 90. So I think we can start the puzzle by saying that everything in this column, now this is going to be the first question, isn't it? Everything in this column is Fillomenon. Maybe I'll make that red to start with. I'm not sure what colours to use, to be honest, but I sort of want to make 3 by 3 boxes green. That feels right. Now I know that red and green are not great colourblind choices, but I think red and green in our palette apparently are okay for people who suffer from red-green colourblindness. So I might do that at least pro tem. Okay, so I don't have, okay, because we've worked out that 90 is the, if you put a 3 by 3 box in, say row 1, again, we're leaving 10 cells free, but we've got greater than 83 here, and we know we can get as high as 90, so we can't pull that trick in this row, and we can't pull that trick in this row. Right, and my brain is not telling me then what I'm meant to do next. We've got 4 is the lowest clue, so that means a lot of this column is Sudoku. Right, yeah, okay, so there's a lot of 1s in this column, is actually what we're being told, because even if we had 3 3 by 3 boxes somewhere in this column, we don't know where they'd be, but let's just paint them in. That's the most we could have, isn't it? Because we can't have, if we were to try and put a 4th 3 by 3 box in that touched this column, we would necessarily repeat a digit in the Sudoku. Because we'd, let me show you, I mean, hopefully that's obvious, isn't it? But it feels true to me. Let's move that down a bit. So let's say I did this. Now, there's no way you can't repeat a digit. You've got to put digits into the Sudoku. So there's going to be 12 digits selected from the digits 1 to 9. So there will be a repeat. So we can't do that. So there are only a maximum of 3 3 by 3 boxes, or 3 strings of 3 by 3 boxes in this column. Now that they're going to take up 9 cells in this 13 length column. So the other 4 cells all have to contain a Fillomenon digit, and they must all therefore be 1s in order to make this a 4 clue. So what that means, well, there's 2 thoughts I'm having about that. The first is that if you put a Fillomenon 1 into this square, for example, you can't then put another Fillomenon 1 here. Why is my phone buzzing at me? This is always going to be... oh no, no, I can't deal with that now. So I knew this would happen. Now, okay, so... Right, so what does that mean? I've got to go... I've got distracted by that. That's... what I was going to say is I've got to put 4 ones into this column, and the ones cannot touch one another. So I don't really... Does that mean... Yes, okay. I think that means... I'm not certain about this, but I think that means they've got to be regularly spaced out, because otherwise I think 2 of them are going to touch one another. So yeah, maybe we can prove this a different way. Imagine that square was Sudoku. Okay, so that's the Sudoku. That's a 3x3 box. These 3 are in a 3x3 box. Then we could put a 1 here, couldn't we? So let's put 1 in there. Now, if we do that, we can't put 1 here. So this would have to be a 3x3 box. And then we could put 1 there. And you can see we're not going to have enough space here, because now this has to be a 3x3 box. And both these squares are going to be 1s, and that will break the rules of Fillomenon. So in fact, that's a way of proving I think this square is a 1. And this is very exciting because it's going to clear... Oh, look at that. Right, now that's Fillomenon. So that is red. Phone is buzzing again. Now, exactly the same logic must apply in the column if we applied that logic from this point and made that a 3x3 box. So that is also a red 1. And that... Ah, you are kidding. That's rotten. Look at that. You don't get anything at the bottom. So now, and then these have to be 3x3 boxes, don't they? And the only way you can separate the 2 ones that must exist in this group of space is to separate them like that. So, okay, I think I've done that in a very long-winded way, but I did at least prove it to my satisfaction. So, right, these squares, and these squares are now definitely all in Sudoku regions. And it looks like we have to look at this column perhaps now, but let me just think about... Well, no, hang on. Oh, no, I was about to say something that was absolute nonsense. I was about to say you couldn't put a digit here next to the 1, but of course you can put a Fillomenon digit here, just so long, providing it's not a 1. Okay, so... If we know this is an arrow... Oh, no, of course, oh, goodness me. I was about to say, doesn't this arrow have to add up to 9? Because it can't have a 1 on it. But that's not how this works. Oh, this is tricky. Because these ones don't affect the Sudoku. Well, they do, but they do slightly affect the Sudoku, because it said that you couldn't put the same Sudoku digit next to a Fillomenon digit. So we can't make those 2 squares a 1. But you could make that square a 1. But if that square is not a 1, that's at least a 2, 3, 4 triple, which is therefore at least 9. And we can't have greater than 9 as a digit in this puzzle. So that would be a 9. But the weird thing I've just spotted about that is that doesn't mean this is in the Sudoku even. Because you could have an arrow. I think you could have an arrow, the circle of which was... not in the same region as the arrow. We know there's Sudoku digits, but that could be in the Fillomenon. Now if that's 9, that would have to be 8 by white dot logic. But then, that's weird as well. Imagine those 3 were all in the Fillomenon. That could be 9, 8, 9. There's no requirement then for these to be different. Well, these have to be different, and those have to be different. But they don't have to be all different. If they were all red digits, it could go 989. Well, it might... No, I think you could. I think you could easily do that. Ooh, okay. So, it must be this column somehow, mustn't it? Is it true to say... How do we do that? How do we do that? What's... I mean, I think it's true to say that there've got to be 9 Sudoku digits in this column. Because if there were only 6 Sudoku digits, there would be 7 Fillomenon digits, even if they all contained 1s, which is impossible. They would add up to 7, which is not the same as 6, is it? So there are 3... Yeah, there are 3 Sudoku boxes in this column. But what you can't do, I don't think, is just extend each of these in whatever column this is, column 7. You can't extend column 7 into this column like that, because then the gaps then, if we did that, the gaps would all have to be Fillomenon digits, and they couldn't all be 1s. They'd all be at least 2s, and they would add up to 8. So we're not going to be able to do that. I don't know what that means. Oh, that's right. I was about to just say I don't understand at all, but I've had a thought. Right, if that square now, this has become a 1. So what I'm wondering is, does that affect the maths on this row? I'm just going to think about that now. So if that was a Sudoku region, so i.e. if this cell is Sudoku region, then we have got... No, it doesn't work. This is beautiful. It's not going to work at the bottom either. This is huge. Okay, so what I'm now noticing is that then we can still have 10 Fillomenon digits, but because one of them is a 1, the other 9 could all be 9s. That's 9 9s, 81. 81 plus 1 is 82, and 82 is definitely not greater than 83. And down here it's the same. 82 is not greater than 82. And that means in both the first row and the bottom row... Well, hang on, it's even more profound, isn't it? Doesn't that mean... Well, I was about to say, we now know this has to be a Fillomenon region and this has to be Fillomenon. I think that's true, but don't I know more than that now? Can't I just extend red all the way across here? In both, if I put a... Oh, that must be right. If I do that, make those green, all of these would be red, but one of them is a 1, and you can't do it. Yeah, okay, so all of this is red. I was only focusing on one cell of it, but I think in both row 1 and row 13, we have to do that. And now these squares are at least 2. Maybe they have to be 2. Maybe they have to be 2, don't they? Because I've now got, however, I've got 11 cells here to fill with 9 green cells. So there are still 2 red cells to come in the column. Yeah, so they have to be 1s. There's some one. Now here's a little point. There are 2 1s to come in this column. 2 red 1s. They can't touch these, because that would be wrong. So those 2 have to be green. And this has to be a 2. I think that's right. That's so annoying. Well, that's got to be a 2 as well. Oh, no. I thought we'd at least get some grid furniture from that, I have to tell you. Okay, so this 2 either goes there. Well, it can't go there. Yeah, that's a simple point. It can't go here. Because I know that there's going to be, if it did go here, by the time I've put three cell regions in the column, I'm still going to have a 1 to put in as well. We know that the only 2 digits that can be Fillomenoned in this column are in the 11 middle cells of this column are 1s. So I think that has to be a 2. I think that has to be a 2. Still, it didn't do very much, did it? Now let's take this opportunity to do some thingies. There's a why it looks like the grid's got a different boundary at the top, doesn't it? It looks like it is a black. It's sort of, it looks different at the bottom as well. Don't understand that. I mean, we can actually do all of that, can't we? Because this is Fillomenon. So wherever we see a Fillomenon, we can certainly bound it on the top side there. We've got a 1 here and a 1 here. And, okay. No, I was about to say something that might be wrong. I was about to say surely this cell has to be green. If that's a 1, 3... No, actually I'm wrong. No, I'm not sure that has to be green. Okay, I don't know what to do now. Where is the tension now? I presume I haven't got. It's not. I don't have to put 9s into all these squares or something. No, I've still got. No, I definitely don't. That's absolute nonsense. I've got 5 here, but I've still got 10 cells left, haven't I? Oh, I tell you something I could do. That. The small wins. What's this? Less than 15 here. Less than 50. Like, oh, what does that even... How does that help at all? I mean, I suppose it's saying that, you know, we can't just have loads of Fillomenon in this column. But I wasn't really planning on having loads of Fillomenon in that column. The 24 column, we've already got 4 in it, so these have to have 20's worth of Fillomenon. No, 20, yeah, 20's worth of Fillomenon. That was correct. That was correct nomenclature. Ah, all right. So there are not. Oh, good grief! I don't know how to mark this. But what this means. Oh, hang on! I've had another thought that's totally obvious. This is it's funny actually. It catches you. Look at these 2 cells. I've worked out from the logic on this column that these, if they were red, they'd have to be 1s. Therefore, they were green. But the automatic corollary of that, which I hadn't noticed until that moment, is that once this is in a Sudoku region, so must these cells to the left of it. And that sort of comes back to this point I was thinking about in this column, which is in this column it's not possible to have 3 Sudoku boxes. Because if you do have 3 Sudoku boxes in these 11 cells, you've only got 2 cells left to be Fillomenon, and even if you put 9 in both of those, that would be 18, plus 4 is 22, which is not 24. So, although this column does have 9 green cells in it, this column only has a maximum. Well, no, it's actually got exactly 6 green cells, and we know it's got exactly 6 because these can't belong to the same 3x3 box. So, and we, okay, right, I see. I've got another deduction then. Because these are the 2, these belong to the 2 3x3 boxes in column 5, that cell can't be a 3x3 box, and that cell can't be a 3x3 box. So both of those are red. And that, I don't know what that does, to be honest. I mean, I've seen there's a dot on this one, but if that was a 1 and that was a 2, right, okay, here's a point about this dot, which is that on its north side, on the north side of this cell, I can draw a line there, because these two cells, imagine this was red, this cell here, because of the dot, it couldn't be in the same Fillomenon region as this cell, because these have to have different numbers in them if they're both red. But if this is Sudoku, again, the rules of the puzzle require these to be different numbers. And if it's Sudoku, there's definitely a line here anyway. So these are definitely different numbers, whether or not this is a Sudoku digit. Hang on, I've seen something else. I can do... Right, I've got to be much more diligent about this. Look at this. So I can't fit in 3x3 boxes here and here now, so these are all red. I love this puzzle so far. It's really, really... Oh, look at this. That looks like... It's really interesting. That looks like it's going to be a 3x3 box, doesn't it? It looks like it's sort of almost been designed so that it's going to just fit in the corner. That's a box in the corner. All of this looks like it's been designed to have little boxes nested into the... We haven't got any clues for column 2, 3 and 4. We've got a clue for row 4, which is 36, which is it's a bit like a 24 number, isn't it? It implies there's got to be some degree of green in this row. Right. Again, that cell it looks like it's trying to do those two as boxes, doesn't it? Like that and that. Weirdly, you can't do that, actually. Let me just show you that I've just seen. If you did put a box here and a box here, look at these two regions now. They would clash. This one would have to go there, and this one would have to go here, and they would share these cells. That's not right. So it's not possible for both of these to be green. Well, that's quite interesting. So one of these is a red 1. I don't really know how to... Can they both be red 1? If they're both red 1, then we've got a box here and a box here. If these were both red 1s... I don't know. I think that's okay. I can't quite see why it's not. There could be a reason, but if there is, I think it's hidden at a depth that's just beyond my ability to see it. Okay, so what on earth am I meant to do now? I felt I was doing okay for a moment or two, and now it's quite an interesting puzzle in the sense that you just hit brick walls, don't you? I mean, I don't know where I'm meant to look now. What's under pressure in this grid? Is it this column? This column, I worked out that there are 2 3x3s, aren't there? So how many red cells are there that are not? So there are going to be 5 red cells in this column, and 5 altogether. No, that's wrong. 5 that are not the ones we know is a better way of describing it. The 5 that we don't know have to add up to 20, which is they're averaging about 4. I mean, it doesn't seem like that's a very intelligent thought. Sorry, I'm just not seeing this at the moment. If that is a red 1, if this is red, we know it's a 1, don't we? What does that do? It means that has to be at least a 3. That's one thing it does. It does. It means that's a region. Oh, so that could. Oh, that's quite interesting. Okay, so what I'm noticing there is if I make this a red, this cell here red, because this cell now, because that becomes a region, doesn't it? And this is a red 1. We know in this column there are 2 red 1s to find, and they can't be adjacent. So if that's a red 1, let's put a little 1 in it. If this is a red 1, this has to be a green cell. And you can see it's not part of this box now. So all of these have to turn green. And look what that does up here. All of those now have to be red, because you can't fit a 3x3 box up there. I don't know what that does. I've still got another 1 to put in this column. I don't see any restriction on where it could go. I mean, obviously it's not there. This is less than 15. This is bonkers, isn't it? It's just bonkers. Here's a tiny point I've just noticed. I'm going to delete all this. Oh, maybe it's not actually true now. No, it is true. It is still true. This square here is at least a 2. But it's in a Fillomenon region actually with this cell, isn't it? Because if this is Sudoku, obviously this Fillomenon region has to go that way. And if this is Fillomenon, it's a different number because of the white dot than this cell. So there is a tiny extension possible there. These two are in the same Fillomenon region. That doesn't apply down here because there's no dot. Alright, I'm going to try the other way around then. Let's think about if this cell was green. So if that cell's green, then we get, that's quite powerful for that, isn't it? That then has to be a green region. Actually, it's quite hard to see this, but okay, that's going to be a region. That's a different region. This then has to be, it's doing quite a lot of region. So if that cell's green, you get loads of regions all of a sudden. You're going to be very careful. Actually, this whole column is going to get determined now. Oh, this is really interesting. Sorry, I hadn't seen any of this before. But if Yeah, what I've noticed here is in this column we know we've got to put 2 red 1s in, and they can't be adjacent, and this has to be a 3x3 region. So if this went up here, the 2 red 1s would be adjacent. So that's going to be a 1, a red 1, and that seems to have to, well, that pinions this region. That's then a region. Let's use blue, and this has to be a red 1. So that's red and is a 2. Look how much stuff gets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there's another consequence I can see from this arrangement, which is a weird thing, which is that that has to be a 3x3 box. Because if that wasn't a 3x3 box, we've only put 4 regions in the puzzle. All of this is red down here, because you can't fit 3x3 regions into the spaces. So if there was no box here, we'd have 4 regions built. Actually, that would be another region I've just seen. So 5 regions built, but we'd have to put 4 Sudoku regions into this space. And there is no way you can do that. I mean, I don't know if a proof is necessary, but hopefully you can see if you put 1 there, even if you pack them in, let's pack them all at the bottom. There's nowhere enough space at the top. And if you pack them all in at the top, I don't know how you would do that, but let's something like that. There's not enough space. So that would be a region. So it does feel like this column is coming under pressure, doesn't it? That cell would be a red 2 in this environment. Hang on, what's going on here then? So you could make this as big. You could, the highest number this could be would be a 3. All those could be 3s. You could make this a 1 and make these a 2, but they would add up to less. And I actually think your problem in this column is that you need to get quite high numbers into the red cells, especially as this is kept down so low. And these can't be very big. They can't be bigger than 3. There's not enough red space there. So that can be, yeah, but you get 3 from each cell. So you get 3, 3, 3, that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, so you've got 15. You've got, that has to be a 9. Well, how could that come? Oh, no, whoa, that's evil. That is quite evil. Oh, goodness me. Okay, this doesn't work. Wow. Okay, but this is quite a look-ahead journey we're on. There may be a different way of seeing this. But it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. And I think it's deliberate. The way it fails down here is so exquisite, if you like. It's so on the money. It's sort of got the dimensions of a Fabergé egg down here. It's all been put together absolutely perfectly in order to give you a problem in this very cell. So let's actually do this in a very structured way, and then I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to see if I can see this a different way now I understand where the constraints are, if you like. But so we're in this position. And the key is that these squares are red in this position, and we have a problem getting to a 24 total here because this cell is a red 2 because of the dot. Now the most we can make these would all be 3s. I'm putting little digits in because if I put 3s as a big digit in and any of them are correct, it will clear the fog, and that's not something I'm entitled to know. So I don't want to inadvertently reveal something that I'm not supposed to know. So you can see you're in this position, and the only way of getting to a 24 total is to write 9 in here in a red cell. So this is part of a 9 Fillomenon region. So this has to be, well, had to be red anyway, but it's now got to be a red 9 on an arrow. Now my first reaction was, well, that's impossible. You can't put 9 on an arrow in this puzzle, because then the circle's going to be bigger than 9. But I was forgetting that that could be a circle. Imagine that was the circle in the Sudoku. Well, then that would work. It doesn't matter you've got 2 9s, but it does matter because there's a rule that says you can't have the same digit in the Sudoku next to the digit in the Fillomenon, and that prevents you having 9 here. So it's very, very on the money, isn't it? So this is wrong. I mean, we could split this up differently, but as I say, you're going to have to put even more weight on this cell if you do that. If you make that 1 and that double 2, the Fillomenon would work, but you'd have to add 4 more to this. So, right, so the pressure is in this column. Sorry, I realise I've stopped speaking. Sometimes this happens, especially as the puzzles get more complicated. I find it very hard to just to let my mouth speak when I'm thinking at the same time. I know this is wrong. I'm just trying to see if there is a different way, because to see this, I sort of had to start with the hypothesis that this was green, and then I could, we sort of traced it through until I could see a problem. And I'm just trying to see whether there is a different way. Of feeling the pressure that's coming out of this 24 column. I'm not sure. It's all got a bit. Let's go back to where we were before we knew any of the things we just knew. So we were in this situation and we made this cell green and it broke. Now, why? What is it? And it could well be that we were meant to discover the Fabergé egg. But it just felt a bit like I'd really looked ahead, if you know what I mean. Ooh, I wonder. Oh, hang on. Hang on a minute. Oh, sorry, and I know I've stopped talking again. The thing I'm thinking about now is different. I'm wondering about in 11 by 11 so-called deconstruction puzzles, where you don't know where the 3 by 3 boxes are, then what effectively you're playing around with in an 11 by 11 is that area. Oh, this is going to be really hard to show this, but I will try. So you're often faced with 11 by 11 deconstruction Sudokus, and they use that area, and they say, okay, you've got to put the 3 by 3 boxes into this area. Now, in those puzzles, there's a trick that allows you to always initially start with these cells and say, well, those must be seen by a region. Those ones there. Those cannot be empty. And there's a variety of ways of proving that. The pigeonhole principle in maths does it, or you could just try and pack all the digit, or you could try and pack a 3x3 box into the bottom right, and you'll still find that you have to take that square. So there are ways of doing it, but what I'm just thinking about here, firstly, it's much more complicated in this puzzle because this is a 13x13, so there is more space. However, we are very close here. I mean, if this was all red in the final column, then in effect this puzzle has collapsed to being an 11x11 deconstruction. And if that was the case, I would know for sure that all of these cells were in boxes. And I'm wondering whether there's some way that I'm meant to appreciate that. The other thought I'm having, though, is actually around this row. Because once I squeeze the grid a bit, this is complicated, actually. This is complicated. I'm not sure about what I'm about to say. It might not be correct. What I'm thinking is, if you squeeze the grid a bit, so we've clearly only got 11 rows to play with. If I've got 11 rows to play with, then is it always necessary that this row has 9 Sudoku digits in it? And if that's true, then the 4 red cells in this row would all be 9s, because they would have to sum to 36 and there would only be 4 of them. That's fascinating. It's less powerful than the 1s column, but it's still massive, isn't it? I get that digit, and who knows what that would reveal. But it wouldn't mean you have to space them out, because obviously the spacing out here came because we couldn't put 1s next to each other. If that was 9, you could absolutely have a 9 here. How do I prove that? So what I'm saying is, in a puzzle where you've only got 11 rows to put 9 Sudoku boxes. Is it always axiomatically necessary that you must have? Oh, here's a point I hadn't seen. Hang on, let me just delete that for a moment. If these two are red, this column and this column have to be green, because this 3x3 here has to extend. Oh, there's loads of things like this in this puzzle that you just, or I don't see. I don't think that's going to affect what I was just trying to think about. So let me just think about this. So what I was thinking is, could you get away with that? So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. Let's say it's there. Can't put anything this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes. And I've got 3 boxes to put in this area of the grid. Well, there's clearly, in my mind, imagine this row here, this row with the 36 in it. Imagine that didn't have any 3x3 box in it. Could you fit 3x3, 3 3x3s into this area? Clearly not. That's visually impossible. I mean, that's not a very good proof to just say it's visually impossible. How can I prove that? See, the thing that slightly worries me is actually, I just don't see how you do it here. I'm not even sure. I believe it's possible to fill this grid. If this is unavailable. Oh, but hang on, that would be. Oh, hang on. Let's imagine that is red for a moment. If that's red, how do you get 9 boxes into this puzzle from here? There's no way, is there? Because all of this becomes red at this point because of the way these boxes have to come down. So you're going to have 2 boxes in these columns. You could pack that box there. That box is sticking out. That box is sticking out. You've now got 5 boxes and 4. There's no way. I think this is almost certainly a box. But again, I don't feel I'm doing this elegantly. I'm sort of doing it by visualization, and sort of saying, well, if it wasn't a box, you couldn't fit them in. And I mean, is that fair? Are you guys going to be happy with that? It's not perfect to me. It's just not quite. I'm not quite seeing it. How long have I had? Oh, how could I have had an hour? I've literally. How can I have? That's amazing. I mean, it's a testament to the puzzle, frankly. I'm so into this that the time just goes. Right. Anyway, come on. How can you prove if you had an infinite strip? Let's imagine this wasn't whatever it is, 13 by 11. Or 12 by 11, I suppose, because column 1's out. But let's imagine it's an infinitely long Mobius strip type thing of columns. Or, well, no, rows. Let's do rows. So it's 11 rows, infinitely long. And the question is it necessary in that puzzle, in such a puzzle, if you're going to put 9 boxes into it, for what is in effect row 3 of that puzzle, to always have 3 boxes cutting it? Because if you only had 2 boxes cutting it, although there's space, although I can see how with an infinite strip there's space, then there's horizontal space to locate, say, 7 boxes below the line, because you could have 2 cutting it. You could have 2 cutting it like this, and then this would all be out of bounds infinitely. But then to put 7 boxes below the line, even if you had infinite space, again I sort of feel like, and this is only a feeling, that although you could obviously, if the strip was infinite, have 4 boxes, you could have 20 boxes in the same row. You can't have 20 boxes that cut the same row because they're going to repeat Sudoku digits. And so it feels to me, again, like you can't do it. You just can't do it. It's a feeling. It's still not better than a feeling. I think I've spent enough time on this. I don't think I understand. I am almost certain in my mind that this row, given especially where we've got to in the puzzle with what's available, that this row has only 4 red digits in it, because I can't see how to fill the rest of the grey spaces with 9 Sudoku grid boxes if this hasn't got 9 green spaces in it. And therefore that would make this a 9, but I don't think I deserve to put it in, because I can't frame the logic in a way that I'm absolutely comfortable in a video relying on. So, but what I am I am also very certain that this is a box, because I can't see how you fill the grid if it's not. But what I am absolutely certain of is that this cell is red, because when it was green, I could absolutely prove that that would have to be a 9, and it can't be. So I'm prepared for this. I'm prepared to make that red, and therefore it's a 1 because it's in the 6 column. Yes, good. Right, so now that is at least a 3. This box has now been fully located, look, which is an absolute... why am I... Oh, it's because I put that circle in. So that's forced. Right, so this... Right, so that's a circle. Because this is a Sudoku. We're in Sudoku world here. So this has basically got normal arrow rules applying to it. So this is almost... It's almost got to be a 9. The only way it can't be 9 is if that square is a 1. If that square is not 1, that's a 2, 3, 4 triple, that's a 9. That then would have to be 8. Well, actually, no. Well, that is all true. But that square is quite big now. Whatever. If that's 1... no, it could be as little as 6, actually. It could be as little as 6. That's the lowest that can be, just by normal Sudoku rules. So that digit could be 5. It's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I know I'm going a bit Goodliff on this, but that digit can never be 2, is what we've discovered. It's at least 4. Which means that this Fillomenon region that's built off this has to come out a bit further, look. It's got to go to at least here. Well, that's quite interesting. Maybe we need to revisit the maths of this row then, if that's tiny. If that's 4, those would all be 4. That's 12, 17. It'd be 17 would be the count for those. 17 and 63 isn't 90. Oh, that's not even close. That feels wrong to me. Because, well, I'm surprised I can put so many low digits in that row. 17. No, it's not 27, it's 80. No, it's 17. Sorry, it's 17 and 63. That's in that. So my hunch is right there. My brain helped me, because I think for some reason I added 27 to 63. Whereas if I only add 17 to 63, I only get 80. I'm now just questioning my sanity. Just bear with me. You know, the puzzle's done me over. If it's 12, 17, and 7 9s are 63, it doesn't add up to 83, or 84, I suppose. That can't be 4. It actually doesn't affect this at all, does it? That could still... Well, let's try 5. If that's 5, we've got 50, we've only got 20. 20 plus 63 is 83. It's not greater than 83. It's exactly 83. That's not 5. Wow. Okay, so these squares are from 6, 7, 8, and 9, which is not that surprising, because we know that the red squares have to be quite large. That can still be 5. 6, 5, 6 is possible. Good grief. Ah, but hang on, we have got a less than 15 here. I don't know. Well, that's obviously taking up quite... If that was a 9... No, it's still fine, isn't it? I suppose what about if there was no green cells there? Those would have to be at least 2s. So you could have 2 2s, you could have 2s there, 2 1s and a 2. So that adds up to 8. So 8 is the minimum if these are all red. And 8, well, that could go, oh no, that could go with 6. That's the only way that could work, but it's still possible. That's rotten. That is rotten. So 2 2s there, 2 1s here, and a 2 here. And that is what prevents us from knowing that there's more greens in these cells. God, blimey. Okay, so we can't do that. Those two have got to be in the same region now. So that's at least a 2. Let's write it in. I think this is under much less pressure, isn't it? Greater than... Although... Okay, so there is some sort of pressure I can now envisage happening between this column having to be low and these digits having to be high. And having to sort of spread in the direction that they... I mean, if that is a 2 region, and we've got 9 into those squares, and 9 and 72 is not big enough. 9 and 72 is 81, and we need greater than 83. That is not a 2. It's at least a 3, so it goes 3, 3. I've had an interesting thought here. Hang on, let me just do the maths on this now. So if this is 3, I'll tell you what my interesting thought is. Now it's 3 at least. It has to take another cell. And my question is, can it ever go there? Well, it could if it was bigger. Oh, hang on. You know what? When I concluded that could be a whole string of red, I was leaving out this count. That's a red cell. So that was total nonsense. Yes, I could make all of those red, but by the time I add both those cells in, I'm going to get at least 15, more than 15, I'm sure now. So there's definitely greens in here, which means that's definitely green. Because I know that I mean, there could be there, it could be there, it could be there, it could attach to here. But there's definitely greens in there, otherwise we're going to beat the count of 15. But hang on, let me just come back to my thinking down here. If this is 3, can we make that work? So now we'd be at 11, best case, that's assuming that's not a 3. So we'd be at 11. And 11 that's enough. I don't believe it. Okay, here's another thought though. There is within this string of digits, there are 2 red cells. There must be, because there's a green stripe somewhere, but there can't be a second green stripe within these 5 cells. So there are 2 red cells here. But we don't know where they are. If they were those 2, they'd be at least 2s. But they could be these 2. No, they can't be those 2, actually. No, they can't be those 2. One of them could be there. It depends, doesn't it? Depends how this grows, or whether there's a line here. Yeah, it could be 2 2s together. Or it could perhaps be a 2 here and a 1 here. Maybe that's the least it can be. So I think the minimum red cell count in these cells is 3. Plus 6 is 9. Plus 3 is 12. That's fine. But I still have to... Okay, so this can't be a massive number, can it? Because if it's a massive number, I am going to beat 15 in this column, or at least get to 15. 6. If this is at least 3, this can't be 6. So this is 3, 4, or 5, I think. Let's just come back to this. Is there a way that we could have less than... that we could have 2 1s is basically the question. Can you put 2... No, you can't put 2 1s in because they'd have to go there. And that would make this not a 3x3 region. So there's definitely at least one red 2 in here. But you could do it with a red 2 here that goes there, and then that could be a red 1, and that would be a 3x3 going that way. So the minimum sum there is 3, that's 9, so that has to be 3, 4 or 5. So that's 3, 4 or 5. Okay, but here's another thought. What about if we take that cell as being in this clump? Clump. That's a terrifying word. Jay Dyer's put me off that word forever. If that was in this, so if we tied those together, then the maximum sum of this now is 15, 20, and we've got 63, and that just works. Wow. But that would have to be 5. It would have to be 5. So, that's interesting. That is interesting. Otherwise, this will have to bend up, and that's going to force that shape. That's going to do a lot of work, look. It has to do a lot of work. Wow, okay. Alright, so that's... I've got something. I've got something really simple. That cell. That's got to be green, doesn't it? Because in this column, we know there's 2 red 1s. And we can't put a red 1 underneath another red 1. So not only can we ring that, we can green that, and that is a region that we have just discovered that's been available for a while, but I didn't spot it. So this is a region now. That's a region of redliness. Oh, hang on. Now I've really confused myself, because I was convinced before that had to be a 3x3. I'm going to have to recount everything now, because I don't think this is going to... I don't think I've got enough space in the grid to make it all work. All of this is now red. Up here, you can't fit anything else in. It looks very pretty, but it's wrong, I think. 1, 2... Okay, let's plough as much as we can over on this side. We can't even do that, because this one has to extend in one direction. This is the sort of Harry Styles type clue. Alright, let's put that there. Let's put 1 in down here. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, my phone again. Oh, this is the same thing again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, no, you can. It does work. I'm going to have to just... I'm going to leave the thing running. I have to run downstairs and do something. I'm sorry about this, but this is okay, I think, isn't it? Because I thought I'd broken the puzzle, but I don't think it's broken. So I'm just going to leave it running and go and run downstairs and check the door's locked. Right, sorry. Sorry, right. I just have to reply to the text as well. Fixed. Done. Right. Oh, I didn't know that was meant to make a noise. That's weird. Okay, anyway. Right, ran downstairs, ran up the stairs, and I didn't think we'd broken the puzzle, which I was relieved about. See, if this, well, maybe it's easier to see this row now as having to be what we discussed before. So if all of those were red, then we've got to put 7. Yeah, this is what I was worried about. If you've got to put 7 Sudoku boxes into this space, aren't we now going to have to put, even if this was infinitely long, aren't we going to have, you know, some row that has more than 9 Sudoku digits in it? Let's try and pack in boxes and see how we can do. We could get 2 there, 3 here. It's really difficult. 4, 5, 6. Oh no, that's discombobulating. I didn't think I actually, in my brain, I was pretty convinced you couldn't do that. And I seem to have proved you can do it. That's weird. I'm really surprised. Well, okay. Yes, you can do it, but look what I've done there. If you look at row, whatever it is, row 6 and 7, you can see I've got far too many Sudoku digits. You can't do that. Yeah, okay, so it's tricky. It is a tricky thing. It's a very tricky thing to visualize in a video. Right, but anyway, what are we doing now? What have we just learned? We've learned that this was all. We also know that whichever way this grows, it's taking away the opportunity for us to pack one of these in, isn't it? Which feels quite important. We've still got they've got this thing as well, and this thing. Okay. Don't know. I'm not sure what I'm meant to be doing, if I'm honest now. Where do we think that the weakness is? I don't know. Do I have to be careful in this column now? I don't think so, but I'm not certain about that. This is going, well, it could, I mean, maybe we can. I mean, that feels like a very bad idea to extend this in both directions, because then you're removing so much real estate from possible green boxes on the left-hand side of the grid. You'd be causing that and that. 1, 2, that's 5. You can't fit 4 into that right side. That's definitely not right. So this either extends like this, or it extends right down like this, and there is a box either here or here. If I was guessing, I would guess here, because there's an arrow there, and that looks like it might be doing something. So if it went there, then we know, if that was the case, these would all be red. Or is that even true, actually? No, maybe that's not true. Yeah, it is true. It is true, because otherwise I can't get to 24. We proved that earlier, didn't we? If I extend this one to here and do that, both of these have to be 9s, which is not enough to get to 24. So in this column, there, these 2 cells and another 3 red cells have to add up to 20. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm meant to deduce from that, if I'm honest. Okay. What do I do now? I don't know, is the short answer. If that's a region, they would be at least red 2s. That would give us 10, at least 13 in this column. It couldn't be more than 14. That would be really powerful. That would be really powerful. So is there a reason? Maybe this is a good question. Can you extend this leftwards? No, yeah, this is it. This is it. Brilliant. Brilliant. Right. Okay. So I should take my own advice and think about this column. Now, if this did go to here, obviously now I've got 9 green cells in the 24 column, and that cannot work because we can't make these big enough to get us to 24. So in fact, what I could have done, appreciating that earlier, would be to extend this region this way. And this is beautifully important because now these 2 squares are red. They can't be 3 by 3 regions, and at least 2. And now I'm going to come back to this column, which is under more pressure. Because, well, not only, there's loads going on now. These have to be red. They have to be tied by ligatures to these. But much, much more important, I think, is if we come down this column now, we have got, I've got 13 minimum. That's if I take 6 here, double 2 and 3. Now if I made this 5, this would now give us 15 minimum. We've got to be less than 15. But the fact we take 15 out here I think is huge, isn't it? Because now I'm going to claim that if this does go to here, let's make it 4, which is the best case. We're going to have 12, we're going to have 17, we're going to have 80. Because even if I make all of these 9s, I only get to 80. And that's not enough. So I cannot extend this. And if I can't extend this to here, this matters so much because I'm going to have to turn this Fillomenon region up. And if I have to turn this up, that has to be red. And it's a 3 or a 4. And this now is huge because it's got to be, we can now place this 3 by 3 region here, which means we go that, which means this has become, whoa, this has become a 3 by 3 region. Look, it's going to bounce everywhere. This is a 3 by 3 region. I don't know what all this means yet, but I'm pretty excited about it. Okay, so all of that goes in. That goes in. Well, we can do more redification. Those can't. That's not a 3 by 3 box. This isn't a 3 by 3 box. What's going on down here? That's got to all be red. And I think there has to be a 3 by 3 box here. Yeah, I mean, I think it is totally legitimate, isn't it? If we say that that's if we say that's red, I've got 5 green cells. I've got to put 4 green cells into this. You can't do it. I mean, just by inspection, I am happy that that's not illogical. There's not enough room. So I think that is green. And it gets delineated. Oh, hang on. Whoa, that's a 1. Oh, that's beautiful as well. Look, it's a 1 and it leads into a 2 region and it's going to work. So that definitely seems to be right. Oh, I like that. Oh, it's all sorts of things coming out of the fog now. We know that is a legitimate thing to write in. We might be able to prove the whole of the bottom row is 9s now. Well, what's that, for example? That's got to be a region that goes that way. Let's think about this. So imagine those are 4s. Then we have got 13 here. We've got 13, but we've got 70, 72, so 85 is the max. No, okay. Alright, but what about if whatever I make this, that must all be part of the same Fillomenon region. So if I did make this, say, an 8, I get 4 8s for my troubles, don't I? So if that is 8, let's just put it in it there. All of these would be 8s. And now I've got 13 here, plus 32 is 45. And if I make all of those 9s, 36 is 81. That's not greater than 82. So this is, you can't lose that many degrees of freedom. So I think all of those are 9s. And all of these are 9s. Hang on, let's not get overzealous here. 4, we've got 8. Okay, so there's a 9 in one of those squares to complete the 9 region. That's taken all the pressure off this, though, because this doesn't all have to be the, you could have a 9 8 9 8 or something over here. It's not necessary for all of those to be the same. So where are we now? We're at 41 plus, so we're at 49-ish. 49-ish. So we need at least, what is it, 33. Yeah, that's easy. Well, it's not easy, but it's doable. What about this column now? Oh, that's a 1. Sorry, should have seen that for my 6 column. Oh, loads more stuff. Oh, and a black dot relationship there. Right, well, let's definitely look at this column now. I've got 9 in it, I think. 9, I need 50. Oh, I need 15 from these 2 squares. But the maximum size of this is 8. 9 is not a black dot digit, even in this puzzle. Okay, so this is either 6 or 8. And this square is either 9 or 7. And that square, I suppose, then is either 3 or 4. And it's on an arrow, but okay, there's some fog in here which we can't see. Okay. Oh, those 2 squares are both red, because we can't fit a 3 by 3 into them. Gosh, an hour and 27 minutes into this. I feel like I've done loads of stuff, but I'm suddenly realising I haven't started the Sudoku yet. Right, what does all this mean? Where is the place to look? This is a Fillomenon region. So this has got to go to at least those squares. And yeah, there's a whole world of fog up here. That's why the red looks darker. Now, if I cut that off now, is that legitimate? I've got 3... No, you can't fit 3 regions there. That's right. Okay, so now we are in a situation where I think I can make all of those 9s. Because, look at row 4 of the grid. If I cut this off and say there's no greenery there, obviously all of these become red, but I've got 3 green regions to pack into this space, and there is not enough verticality or horizontality to allow us to do that. So there is some green along there, which means those 2 are definitely green. It means one of these is a 9. And the reason for that is that I have got to get to 36. I've only got 4 red cells to play with. So this is the whole logic we were discussing earlier. I think all of these are 9s. They are. That is 8, isn't it? This is massive. This is massive. That's got to be consecutive with 9. It's got to be 8. It's in the Sudoku. So this is 1. That's got to be 9 by mathematics. That can't be 9 anymore because it would put 9 here in the Fillomenon and the 9s would be touching. That's 7. So that's 7. So this is now 8 by maths. This is 4 by maths. That's 5 by maths. 5 plus 4 equals 9. That's just ludicrous amounts of development, isn't it? Now, well, these are all 8s. Things are getting cleared. Oh, I wanted to write a 2 in there. I used that 2 and scanned it and said that's got to be a 2. That's total and utter nonsense. Okay, what does this mean? Don't know. We've got black. Look, we've got black. 3 black dots. You can do a little trick with that. That's got to be a 2 or a 4 in the middle of it, because those are all Sudokuable. And we've got to, so it's legitimate to say this cell and this cell have to be different. So it's either 1, 2, 4 or 2, 4, 8, because each digit has to be double the other. In fact, that can't be 1, so that's got to be 2, 4 or 8. And that's got to be 1, 2 or 4 or 8. Actually, how can that be 4? Because that could be 4 only in the sets. So we go 1, 2, 4, so that's not going to work. So it's either 1, 2, 4, 2, 4, 8, or 8, 4, 2. There's always a 2 and a 4 in this sequence. I don't really want to pencil mark that, but that's something that's worth remembering if you get this sort of black dot sequence happening in your world. Right. If that's a 9, that's an 8 on a Renban. So there would be 7 on this Renban. That would mean 7 would be in one of those squares in this column where there are 9 Sudoku digits. Seven here might be interesting. I'm just thinking. I'm wondering. I think we might be able to prove this 7 has to occupy some cells in the top of the grid here. Not sure. Because if the 7 doesn't do that, how could it exist? We could make all of those 7, couldn't we? But we've still got one more cell to put in. And if we were to put it there, for example, that's fine, but then the maximum size of these cells, any individual one of them, would be 5. And surely that's putting too much pressure on the 83 clue. Probably what you have to do here is put as few 7s as possible into the top row, otherwise your maths is going to be a problem. But how are we going to work that out? If we put 2 7s in here, it probably isn't quite enough to put pressure on it. That would be 19, and then we could have 72. We could have all 9s, couldn't we? Something like that. All 9s in the rest of it. That gives us 8 9s. But I think it's okay. 2. Yeah, I think it is. I can't see why it's not. Right, so that wasn't a sensible way to think about it. What about... don't know, actually. I'm not seeing anything immediately that's sort of jumping out at me and making me think, yeah, it's obvious. Ooh, that's a tiny point. That's not 7 anymore. Because if that was 7, surely that would be a 1, 2, 4 triple, and it will break that square. So that's a tiny point. We'll take... Actually, it's not 9 either. It's even. So this is odd. Well, that's interesting. Okay. So that's even. Well, okay. So we're doing a bit of parity. So actually, that has reduced the options at the top of the grid. If that's 8, 10, 12... No! Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on a minute. Oh, that's beautiful logic. I wish I'd seen it more quickly, but it's beautiful logic. So the idea is that being a 9 and this 2, 4 preventing this being a 7 forces this to be even, forces this to be odd by, a consecutive set of digits must include an odd number, and that same process then happens in reverse, forces this to be even. But what I hadn't realised is that if this is 8, 10, 12, 15 is equal to 15. It's not less than 15, that's 6. Whoa, whoa, oh yes. So this, we don't know. Well, no, we don't. Bother. How does that not resolve that? How? Oh, that obvious point, there must be a 1 on this arrow if it's adding up to 6 or 8, so we know where that goes. It's got to go here. I think that did clear something. It looks a bit strange now, but that must be right. So this is either a 2-3 pair if it's adding up to 6, or if it's adding up to 8, it's 2-5 or 3-4. So between these cells there is a 2-4 triple. 2 and 4 are used up in those 3 cells. I don't know what that means. Probably nothing. Oh, bother. I don't know. I don't know. 7, look, can't be there. So 7 is in one of those 3 cells in this panoply of digits. So 7 is over there somewhere. 7 is over here somewhere. These are all 6s. Does that put more pressure on how many 9s we can have in the top row? So now we've got 18, 23. So if everything was a 9, we've got 63 and 23, which is 86. Okay, that's not that much latitude. If I have 2 7s in that, don't I lose the plot? So if I have 2 7s in the top row, and I think I've concluded I've got to have at least 1 7. If I had 2 7s, then I would be at 37 for, say, those squares. That's nowhere near. That's not even close. Well, no, actually it is quite close. I think it is quite close. I think I'm overstating my case there. 30... It is 37, isn't it? And I'd have 45 max in the other squares. So 45 and 37 is 82, I think. It's clearly not enough, whether it's close or not. Right, so this is where we need to go back to looking. So there are not more than 1 7 in this sequence. I want to say that's got to be 7 then. Well, or to put it another way, there's got to be a boatload of 9s up here. Yeah, if that's 9, all of those have to be 9, because this 7 has to get out. That can't be 9, and it must be 9 or 7. Oh, is that true? I think that is true. Let's just, maybe we should check the maths on that actually. So if you put 1 7 in, I think you get 30 in those, and 54 if you put 9s into everything else, which is 84, which is greater than 83 by exactly what it needs to be. Yes, so there are 3 9s. There's 3 9s and a 7 here, and that can't be a 9, so that is a 7. Oh, it didn't. Is that, maybe there was no fog to clear. I think those all have to be 9s by maths, and this 7 has to not block off the exit from the 9s, and that 7 region is now finished. The 9 region comes down here, and we can ring it. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Bother. So there's one more 9 to come down here. If it was there, if that was a 9, obviously that would be an 8. That looks quite reasonable. And didn't I work out actually that everything else had to be a 9? I think I did. So this has to be a 6 because this has to get out. So that's a red digit now. And we can start delineating that region. Can we do any more in that regard? Possibly, but I don't know how to do it. Don't know. We don't know where this there's some region around here. I'm not sure where it goes. The 9 region has to get out, I suppose. So I want to say that makes that a 9, but that might not be quite right. Maybe you can do that actually, and that would allow space for the 6 region sort of nest there. I don't know. Okay, so maybe I don't know which of those is a 9. Right, but hang on. Do I know both of those are a 2 now? Because this had to be a 6. Oh, no, I don't. That's weird. Oh, these have to be 2 or 3. They can't be more than 3, because if one of them was a 4, we'd get to 15 again, but even if that was a 3. So these are 2 or 3. These are 2 or 3. Wow, okay. I don't know what to do. Well, what about, hang on. What about 9 in this box? Because 9 can't be next to itself on the Fillomenon. So 9 by, so there's a 9 in one of those 2 squares. This will be important. Right, so if that's a 9 now, that's 876, because it can't have a 9 on it. Okay. I mean, can I presume this is a circle? Is that legitimate? If that's not a circle, those 3 are arrows. Where's the fog? I think there's some fog there maybe, so it would have to go like that. I'm not sure actually. I mean, one thing I've seen, which is a tiny point, but I will mention it, is I don't think this Renban is a 1 2 3 Renban, because if it is, I don't think I can fill this arrow legitimately. If that's a 1 2 3 Renban, in order for this circle, say it was here, which is the closest it could be, to be a single digit number, this would have to be a 4 5 pair if that's 1 2 3, and it can't be a 4 5 pair because of this 5. So there is no 1 on this Renban, and there's no 1 there. Only me. So does that matter? Maybe it doesn't matter. Not sure. It's tricky actually. Those 2 cells are the same parity because they differ by 2 from each other. Yeah, I know, I'm grasping at straws. What are those digits? Maybe that's a way we can make some progress. 2, 3, 6, and 7. 2, 3, 6, and 7. I see that one can't be 7. Look, 2, 3, or 6. Is that? If it was 6, it would fix that one. 2, 3, 6, or 7. Is there some reason we know more than it looks to me? I can't use that 2, 3 pair. It doesn't mean anything. Wow, I don't know. I don't know. Baffling. 4 can't be here or there, so there's no 4s in any of those squares. I think maybe is there a way I know this is a 9? If that's a 9, that's an 8. That's 8, 7, 6. Oh, and then you'd have to put even digits on both of those, because they're both. So these would both be odd digits. That couldn't be a 1. That would be a 3 or a. That would be a 3 exactly. In fact, it couldn't be 7. 7 was over there. That's quite interesting as a line of thought, isn't it? So if maybe we can just distill this away from that question. So we don't have to say if this is 9, this is 876. We could just say, can that be an 876 Renban? Because in fact that would have to be a 2. This would have to be a 1-2 pair, I think. A lot of this box would get sorted out. So what I'm saying is, if that is a 678 Renban, always on a white dot there must be an even digit. So the even digit on here can't be 2. There's 2 2s looking at that. So there's a 2 on here. That means there's a 4 on here. Now there can't be a 5 on here. So there's a. Oh, hang on. Now I've got a problem, because I thought I proved that had to be. That had to be a 3. Ah, okay. Hang on. Let's do this slowly. So this would have to be a 3-4 Renban. What's this? This is another text message. Okay, that's not a worry. Yeah, so now we know this is odd. We know it's not 1. It can't be 3. It can't be 5. It's on an arrow. You can see it's going to have to be at least 7 and add to at least 3. 7 and 3 is 10. It's not a single digit number. So this doesn't work. Okay, well, I mean, it's the most minor. Well, no, it's not a minor deduction, is it? Because what we're effectively proving then is that this can't be a 9, in fact. So almost forget about what it's proving about this box, and it is proving this is not an 876 Renban. But we've actually proved this can't be a 9. Right, that's great. That's going to clear. No. Ah, you rotten puzzle. You rotten. Well, it was correct logic. We placed the 9, but it didn't do anything. How many cells have we got here? We've got. Let's think about this. We've got 8 there, 12. We've got 12 cells to fill, and we've got one of them is taken up by a 9, and then 5 of them are taken up by the rest of the 8. So there's a maximum of 6 other cells to find. You don't know really what that means. 3, 2, 1, 9 here, and then the 8s flood this. If that's 8, that's got to be 7, I suppose, and that would have to be 7, 6, 5 then. Oh, okay. 8 is a bit restricted actually now, isn't it? In this box, I've worked out 8 couldn't go on the Renban, because if 8's on the Renban, because 9's not on the Renban, it is 876, and that breaks the world. So 8 is in one of those 3 cells now. Now, can we do something with that? It looks like it wants to be an 8-9 pair to me. I don't know. Sorry, I'm not seeing how to do that. Let me think. I worked out this couldn't be a 1, 2, 3 triple as well, didn't I? I think we're on the cusp of discovering something in this box. I just can't quite see it. I very much suspect this is a circle. Oh, here's a that's it. Got it. I have got it. Okay, I've got it at last. I'm so sorry. It's simple. It's simple but very beautiful, and that's a lovely combination. Right. Where is 1 in this box? I worked out this couldn't be a 1, 2, 3 Renban before, so 1 is not on the pink cells. If 1 can't be here by the funny rule, 1 can't be on the dot here because it would be with a 2, and the 2 would clash. So there is a 1 in this sequence. Now the only white dot sequence then is the 8-9 pair, and then the 9 then is there. Oh, this is gonna get weird though. Oh, so no, it did. It goes out. Right, that makes sense. Okay, so that's a 1. And surely that's huge, isn't it? He says. That's got to be, well, the minimum these are is a 2-3 pair. Can we do that? Probably. So that's at least a 6. Okay, 6 was the maximum digit. I don't think we could put 9 here. No, we definitely can't put 9 here. And I don't think we can put 7 here. I think this is even. Because I worked out there was 6 digits worth of space. So if this was 9, it's a new 9. It's not connected to this 9. There's not enough room for it. If it's 7, it's a new 7. There's not enough room for it. And it is at least 6 because we're adding at least 1, 2, and 3. So this is even. This is odd. So these two are an odd and an even. And they can't be that big. They're either, well, if they're either 2, 3 in that specific order, which would make this a 4. That looks quite good, doesn't it? Or, what's the other alternative? This is adding up to 8 without using 5. So this is a 3-4 pair where there's no real restriction on it. Except, well, if this is a 3-4 pair, we can't put 5 on the white dot, can we? So if that's a 3-4 pair, we've got to put 2 on it, and that square cannot be a 2. So it's not a 3-4 pair, it is a 2-3 pair. That feels right. I'm not getting any fog reveal from that though, which is slightly terrifying. That's 5, 6, 7 if that logic's correct. So that square, oh, see, it could be 4, couldn't it? 4, 5, 6. It can't be 7, we know that. It could be 8 maybe. Yeah, maybe both of these are going to be 8. No, actually, no, this has become 6 by mathematics. Okay. That's right. So that's great news. As I was worried about whether I'd there was any sort of lacuna in my idea down there. Right, so now, well, now this dot is massive. That's a beautiful dot, actually, because the digits that are filling the empty space here are 6, 8, and 9. So that must be 8, 9, and the 9 must touch its own brand, if you like. So that's got to be 8. We can delineate all of this. These two at the top must be 8 because they're either 8 or 6, and if they were 6, that 8 gets isolated. So that's all of that has to be 8. And now we've got, okay, so we've got 1 8 left to find. They can't be there because that 6 would be isolated. So that's got to be 6, and if that's got to be 6, hang on. Well, that's clearly got to be 6. That's true. So this square is odd and is 5 or 7. That square's got to be 6. There's only one more. That square's got to be 6. There's only one more. How am I going to delete? Is this ambiguous? Hang on. Wow. Okay, so this cell, I believe, is going to get determined by that cell. Which does that imply that has to be a 6? Oh, it is a 6. It is beautiful. Where's 6 in this column of 9 green numbers? It can't go next to itself, so it goes there. I was thinking that's not going to work, and it does. That's beautiful. What a beautiful resolution. Now, right, this column has 1 and 7. Oh, well, that means this is odd. It's either 3 or 9. We must know which of those it is. Ooh, maybe we don't. Okay, bother. It's not giving up, this puzzle, is it? Everything has to be earned, and that's as it should be in a puzzle this difficult. Where are we? 2 hours. 2 hours, and I've still got half the puzzle left. Although, hopefully, I've broken into it. I think I've broken into it, haven't I? Okay, come on. Come on, Simon. Those are not 4. So there is a 4 in one of these squares. That's definitely worth noting, isn't it? There's no 4 here. There's no 4 here. Ah, we said that there was a 2-4 pair virtually there. So there's a 4 down here. That's almost impinging upon this. That sort of feels like it's trying to be helpful. How do we do this then? What is it that I need to think about next? Anyone got any ideas? 2 in this box can't touch any of those squares, so 2 is over there. Ah, yeah, that's interesting. Remember that there's a 2-4 pair virtual there, so there's a 2 in one of these squares. So that's not a 2. If that's not a 2, can that still be 4? It can be, can't it? 1, 2. So it's either 1, 2, 4 or 8, 4, 2. This is never 8 anymore. Okay, well that's something. Oh, that's a 2-4 pair now. Okay, good. Hang on, can I use this somehow? I know there's a 2 and a 4 down there. Do we know anything else? I don't know. This is still not easy. It's still not easy. It's really not giving up. What am I meant to do? Is it? Oh, right. Here's a tiny point that might be. Oh, no, this is useful. Where is 1 in this column? There must be a 1 in the green. Okay. Now, I don't think there's a 1, 7 there, so this isn't. These aren't 1s. That can't be 1 by Sudoku. That can't be 1 by Funny Rule. That is a 1. Ah, it was a 1. It did nothing. No. Okay, so can we use... Okay, so there is now... Oh, it's nearly beautiful, but not quite. There is a 1 in this column that needs to be placed somewhere. It's not there, look. And it's not in any of those. So it is in one of those. This doesn't do anything, does it? Rats. Bobbins. Sorry. Okay. Alright, so come on, Simon. What do we do then? How do we think about this correctly? What is it I'm meant to be appreciating? I don't know. I've not grasped it yet, have I? I'm wondering if I've got to do some sort of odd trickery. There are tricks that you can do with deconstruction puzzles along, let me think about how this would work. So, for example, if we, those three thingies, those three boxes, they clearly contain 3 sets of the digits 1 to 9. I think we'd agree with that. Once we finish the puzzle, there will be 3 sets of the digits 1 to 9 in those boxes. So these squares, what do they contain? Well, they contain 2 sets of the digits 1 to 9. That's 2 complete columns. And that means that to balance those things out, these squares must be 1 complete set of the digits 1 to 9. Let's make those blue. They are 1 complete set of the digits 1 to 9, which means nothing, I don't think. I don't see how I can make any headway out of that at all. Is there anything clever we can do with that knowledge? There might be, but I'm just not seeing it. And I'm sort of worried about where is it I'm meant to be looking here? Is there something? I mean, this just doesn't seem to be enough. I mean, maybe there is some cleverness I can do. But I don't see it. 7. 7s have to be in those squares. Just wondering about 7. So 7 is not in blue there. So 7 is in blue in one of those situations. No, I don't think that's it, is it? That doesn't feel enough. Sorry, I mean, it could be obvious. This is about the point where I start to get tired as well. It's very possible. All right, so where do we look now? Maybe I've got to actually try and determine where the boxes go on this side of the grid. That's probably not a daft idea. That square can't be green, because that's going to trap in a 9 region, so that square is definitely red. And that means those two are both red. Oh, there's a simple deduction, yeah. So, okay, so I should have been looking up here, didn't realise that. So now this has to extend downwards, because we're looking for 3 by 3 boxes, nothing smaller than that. Okay. Is that helpful? Might be. Could we... I don't know. Really not sure how this develops up here. If this goes here, so let's say that cell is something else and this is 6, what's that doing? Don't know. No, sorry, I'm still I'm very uncomfortable with what exactly it is I'm meant to be appreciating. So if that's the base, let's say that was the base of this one, I've then got to fit in 2 more 3 by 3 boxes. So again, how could this not be green? If this domino is not green, and maybe even more than that actually, we might be able to get 2x2s of green down here, I think. Maybe. I mean, it's very clear if these are both red now. I can't fit in 2 more 3x3 boxes into the puzzle, so they're definitely green. But if this was the top of this box, you can see that's not going to leave me enough room as well. So in fact, those are green, and that means these are green. Yeah, we've got one room of shuffle either side. What we don't know is that black line. That black line could be nonsense. All right, well that's something, isn't it? Is it helpful? Is it a helpful something? I don't know. It might be. It's not absolutely impossible that it's helpful, he says, desperately trying to work out what it might mean. Or not, as the case may be. I don't know. I mean, this is baffling, actually. Is it something to do with 2 and 4 are here? So whatever that is, that hasn't appeared in blue yet. So there must be a 2 or a 4 in those squares. And there's a 2 or a 4 in these squares. So this square is not 1, 2, 4. It could be 3. Could be no, yeah, it could be 5. Could be 6, I think. Could be 7. I don't think it can be more than 7, because it's on an arrow and it seems to be going into that square. So if that, I mean, that could be a circle. That would be evil. Oh no, it couldn't. Here's a point. Here's a tiny point. That cannot be a circle, because if it's a circle, it's the same digit as this. But then these two are the same digit, because these two are the same digit. So this is not a circle. So this is being added in to this number to make some other number that's over there somewhere. So does that actually help me? I don't think it does. It doesn't even rule out 7. It does mean 9 is in one of those squares in this box, in the blue square. Oh, that's it. Oh, good grief. Right, that's quite complicated as well. Because in this box now, 9 seems to have to be in blue, which means 9 is not in blue down here. Therefore, in this column, 9 is in one of those two squares. And that means that square is not 9. That's 3. So that's 1. That's 7. Don't tell me that does nothing. Oh, boom. I've seen one thing it does. That's not 3. Right, so now hang on, what about 3s? So there's no 3 here. There is 3 here, isn't there? There is a 3 in one of those. There's 3 and 7 up here. So 3 is in one of those cells. We don't know. I don't think we know about 3 up there. I'm not sure. If that's 9, that's 8. Is there anything wrong with that? If that's 9... I don't know. There's 3. It must have done something. Maybe it's the other thing I saw. I don't know. I don't know. If there's a 6 down here, that becomes 6, that becomes 8. That becomes 7. don't think we care, do we? I'm not sure. Right, okay, I'm going to come back to the other thing I've seen, which is that this has to be part of some 3x3 box. Now, imagine that 3x3 box did occupy, this one's 3x3 box occupies any of these cells. Where would we put 1 in this 3x3 box? And these ones, look, would all stop there being a 1 anywhere in such a box that lives in that cell. So this must come down to the bottom row. And there must be a 1 down here somewhere. I mean, I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere down there. Because that's where the only place the 1 can live in this one's 3x3 box. Is that helpful? Probably not. Well, it means we can do that, and we can do that. If we could get this to be slightly bigger, we would be very happy, wouldn't we? Did we work out that we could have a mixture of 8s and 9s down here, I think that's what we worked out. Don't see how to do that. I don't think I can pull that same trick with 1s at the top there, can I? Because if this goes up here, the 1 would just be in one of these cells. That 1 is not seeing the Fillomenon, or not seeing the Sudoku. That Fillomenon 1 doesn't see the Sudoku. Okay. What about if that square was green? That would be a box, and that again would pen in the 9, wouldn't it? So that's red. So, oh, that's close. That's really close to being very interesting. So if that now, oh, that's so annoying. If that was green, that would be a box. And you can see the 6 just has enough room and the 9 can escape. Only just works, but I think it does work. That's if this is green. Be massively powerful. I think that would almost, I could believe that would finish the puzzle, because it would do so much with the Fillomenon here. I'm not sure. I'm not absolutely certain, but it does feel it would be potent anyway. But hang on, so if that's 6, what's that doing then? What about if this 6 doesn't ever go into these squares? If that 6 just goes straight down, that doesn't work. That's a little bit interesting, isn't it? So what I'm saying here is if this 6 just goes straight down there, then you can see that this gets pushed over to here, like that. And we can't make the 36 clue work, because we know one of these is a red 9. And that this would be green, so it couldn't be a red 9, that would be 6. Right, so what we now learned is that this 6 does go into one of these squares. I'm not saying we know which one, but it does go into one of them. And that must mean that the 9... How does that, well, what does that mean? Can that really be 9? Or part of this 9? The weird thing is, I think the answer to that might be yes, which is bizarre, but I can't see why not. Okay. So instead of that, we have to think again. where? Where and how do we think again? That's the next question. Could we... How do we do this? I don't know. Okay, I mean, there is there balm in Gilead? I don't know. This is weird now. It's very tricky. 1, 3 and 7. Okay, so this white dot has either got 5 on it or 9 on it. If it's 9, we know it's 9, 8, and we know the order. If it's got 5 on it, it's 4, 5, and we know the order. Okay, that's interesting. I hadn't picked up this before, but I'm going to use it. So what I'm saying is there's an odd digit on this white dot, not 1, 3, 7. If it's 5, it goes with 4. And we know the 4 is in this column, so that's 4, that's 5 is one possibility. The only other odd digit can go on it is 9, and that would go there, and that would be 8. So this is a thing. And now 2. Ah, that's it. Again. It's beautiful. It's beautiful once you see it. It's very hard to see. Now you ask where 2 goes in this box. And because of this 2-4 pair, it doesn't go here. And I don't know where it goes. But it does go in one of those 2 squares. And if it goes in one of those 2 squares, it doesn't go in any of those squares. So that's a 2. Okay, what's that doing? So this becomes 3, 6, 7. I have a horrible feeling that's not doing anything, you know. How? That's just really mean if that does nothing. I'm going to start crying. That's really strange. No, 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 no. Okay, these squares are now 2, 4 and 9, aren't they? So this is a 5 or an 8. That's not going to do anything. This square is 2, 4 or 9. I suppose what this means is that in this column we have narrowed these squares down. They're 5 and 8. Please, yeah, okay, there's an 8 there, right. So that's 5, that's 8. That's a tiny, tiny step forward. 2, 4, 9 here. Is there going to be any shenanigans like, you know, one of these cells is touching something on the perimeter? I don't know. Not seeing it. Got it. Now where does 8 go? In this column. It's not in those squares, so it's in one of those 2 squares. And if that's true, that's a 1. Yes. Oh, and it was right. So that's a 2. That's a 4, that's a 9, that's an 8, that's a 5, that's a 2. 2 is cut. Ah, that's huge. That's got to be 8 now. It can't be a 1, 2, 3 triple. So that's 8, that's 7 to make it lead into the 6 possibility. These squares now don't include 2 but add up to 8. So they're a 3, 4 pair. This is not 3 or 7. Nearly interesting, isn't it? It's nearly good. 3 in that there's a 2, 3, 4 triple at the bottom in these squares. So those squares are 6, 7, 9, and those squares are 5 and 8. Yes. Where does the 8 go? The 8 goes there. The 5 goes there. Wow! Wow! Imagine setting this. It's absolutely bonkers. I mean, it really is bonkers. Right, that's 4. Why? I mean, what gives you the idea of thinking this is even a thing? Oh, what's going on there? 3 4s touching 3 4s. Ah, all right, so these are opposites. Whatever that is, stops those being the same thing. Oh, hang on, and those are opposites as well. Oh, hang on. There's going to be some problem here. We can't have this adding up to... Is there a way we can force both those to go up? If that's 2, Yes, isn't that lovely? If that's 2, that becomes 3, because it can't be the same digit across the border. But that being 2 makes that 4 and that 3, which forces this to be 4. And we'd have 3 and 4 in these. And 3, 4, 6 and 2 is 15. It's not good enough. That's got to be 3. Yes. Right. So these are now 2, and that's a region. That is a region. And we can cut it off. That actually, it might have been better for it to not be 3. I'm not sure. That's now 4. That's 2. And these are 3. And we can cut them off. Okay, so, right, I don't know what that's doing actually. 5 in this funny column has got to go there. So now these squares are 6 and 9, and we know the order. Yes, we do. Come on. These squares are 3, 4, 7. Ooh, well, again, we don't know what this is. We don't know whether it's Fillomenon or how it lives its life. What are these digits? Those are the blue digits. No, it's easier to use the box they're in, Simon. Stop using the blue digits. 2, 6, 9. 2, 6, 9. And that's not 6 by the funny rule. That's not 9 by the funny rule. The funny rule being Sudoku. Okay. Right. Is that good? Don't know. There's probably some jiggery pokery going on with how these interact with that. I mean, if that's 6, that's 2, that's 9, that's 6. That stops this being 6. Is that logical, what I was just doing there? What's this as well? Does that have to be a circle? No, not at all. And we've got 2s and 3s now in the 15 column, which takes all the pressure off this digit. That can absolutely still be 3. It's quite exciting though. The bottom of the grid is quite a lot more full than it once was. Oh, hang on, that's not 7, I've just noticed by Sudoku. These squares are from 1, 2, 3 and 4, because we've got all the high digits here. We've got most of the low digits here, so these are probably quite high. How do we finish this now? I did work out there was a 6 in one of those. I don't know, but I think we're getting closer. That's not 9. Can we do any better with this 6, 7s? I don't think so. So those squares are from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, it's just not interesting until we know what's going on the right-hand side. Those can't be 4s, actually, can they? Oh, no, they can, because we don't know where the arrow... For some reason I thought the arrow goes like that. It doesn't at all. Yeah, that can't be a 4. That's very sensible, because we are adding that digit to it. So that digit has to be quite low. This digit, where my cursor is. Because we're adding that digit. If that digit was a 3, that would be a maximum of 1. So I think this is... How could either of these be? No, they can't be 4s. Okay, so in fact, we know that is the end. Oh, do we? No, we don't. Oh, that's ridiculous. The arrow could go there, and this be a Fillomenon 1, and that be a 2, and that be a 1, and then the arrow would add up to 4, which would be correct. Ah. Ah. That's evil. That is absolutely evil. Okay. Actually, what happens if that's a 3 now? Oh, that's beautiful. That doesn't work. Oh, that's a lovely idea. Yeah, if this is 3, those two squares are both 3, which means it prevents this A from being the circle and B from being the arrow, because we'd be adding 6 to 5 and we get 11. So this is 2. Ah, and now that's not 2. That's chocolate teapotted, isn't it? I don't believe it. Well, at least it's something. Oh, look, this square here is not arrow. Oh, that's got to. I want to say that's got to be a 1. It's not the circle. I mean, we've got 7, so this is either 2, which it can't. Oh no, it can't be 2. It just can't be 2. Whether it's Sudoku or whether it's Fillomenon, it can't be 2. So it must be 1. It must be. Yes, and that must be 8. Wow. Right. Now, okay, no, that's not a sensible idea, is it? I was about to claim this has to be in the Sudoku because I need a 1. I need a 1 in this row in the Sudoku, don't I? For this box. I can't get a 1 up here in the Sudoku. So there is a 1 down here, but what's to stop that being Fillomenon and then the 1 being there or over here? Probably nothing. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. So what does that mean? Has this become more difficult now? I think that's chocolate teapotted, though. I think it's totally legitimate either way round, isn't it? I'm not sure. Is there some... Ah, it's a 2 looking at that one. There you go. That's a 6. That's a 9. That's a 2. Oh, that's big. Right. That can't be 6 now. It would touch that 6. So that does now come across here, which was correct. I think that did clear some fog when I clicked it. Ah, no. That 9 means that can't be the 9 in this row. That's gorgeous. So that's the red 9. Red 9 standing by. That's the Sudoku version of Star Wars. Now that's got to be green. That's got to be green. So that did end up being our Sudoku 1 in this row. Now, has that helped? I don't know. I've still got to put another 6 here. And how many 9s can we put in? All of those could be 9s, but that's as much as you could do. So that's definitely 9. That's definitely 9. I think that's true anyway. Hang on, actually, let me just go back. Could that be a Fillomenon 1 with the 9 doing that? 6, no, actually, that's true. It could, and then this could come down the column. Yeah, okay. So I can't even assume that. Don't think that's legitimate. Alright, so maybe what we have to do then is to think about these squares, is it? No, I don't really like that thought. I don't know anything about these squares. If that's Sudoku'd, those would be Sudoku. That would be 6, this would be 9. That would do a lot of work. But if this is Fillomenon'd, how do I know what it is? I don't really. I think it might even be able to be a 3. I don't know. I'm not sure how I'm meant to get that dealt with. Wow, okay. I can't even use this 1 to frank that cell because this might not be Sudoku. It's astonishingly difficult, this still. It really is. It's resisting every single step of the way. You can totally see why people have spent 15 hours on this. 2.5 hours. I'm pretty sure it's going to beat the Jay Dyer puzzle. And it's difficult in a different way. The start of the Jay Dyer one was absolutely monstrous. The start of this one wasn't quite as bad. But it's just relentlessly difficult, although Jay's was very difficult as well later on. I think you sort of you revise your opinion once you finish a puzzle. You sort of think, oh yeah, well it was hard, but I got through it, so it can't have been that hard. But while you were doing it, you were like, ah. What do I do here? How do we know what this does? We know it either does that, in which case the world becomes a much more fluid place, I think, or it comes down here. And why would that be in any way a problem? Is there a digit we couldn't put into it? 9 would be almost impossible to put in, actually. Wow. Unfortunately, I think you can put 9 in, but only by the skin of your teeth. Oh, maybe that's the general point, though, about this box. Where is the 9 in it? Does it have to be here? Whatever. Oh, that would be incredible. That would be incredible. It does. It does. This is 9. I don't actually know if that's going to do anything. It does clear that cell of fog. But let me just think about this. So if this is the Sudoku region, where does the 9 go in it? There, because of these 9s. And if this is the Sudoku region, it's the same thing. That 9 sees those squares. So this is 9. Oh, that's it. Now this 9 can't come down here, so it has to stop. And now, how do I fill this? I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's completely filled. And that has to be a 9, which is weird. So you've got to go 9, 9. The 6 goes there. The 9 goes here. The 9 goes here. That's the only way you can fill in those digits. All of that is delineated. Oopsie doopsie. And now, of course, that means these squares are greened. And then we can delineate this. And now these squares are red. And now this box at the bottom, this box here has to drop down here. And we can probably do some other things. Probably. Well, what does this mean? How does this help? It means 5 is down there somewhere. 2 is up here somewhere. No, you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to still be difficult now. Are you? Or maybe you are. What's going on? Maybe it's these squares. Are they somehow restricted? No, I don't think so. Can't put 2 into either of them, actually. So that's not a 2 Fillomenon. Ah, that's so clever. Wow, that is it. The moment you think the right thoughts, it's obvious. Okay, if you can't put 2 into either of these, and you can't, because that can't be 2, and that can't be 2 for different reasons, then you can't put double 1 in, which means that one of these is sticking out here, or here. One of these must be Fillomenon related to these regions, and that pushes this into the corner. So that's another region. That's beautiful. I see where this is going as well, because now these are all going to have to be the same number. This has all got to be red. Right, now, we just have to work this out now. We're going to clear, there's fog down here as well, so that might be helpful. But that digit, if this was 8, and all of those converted to 8, does that break the 82 clue? 47. Yes, 79. That's not nearly enough. These have all got to be 9. And if they're all 9, then we get 72 and 11, which is 83, which is just enough. Oh, that's that. Oh, because this became a 3. That's what that's been available, or some deduction down here has been available for a while around that. Right, so that's 9. Oh, this is 9. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 9. Could one of these be a 1? I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, we can't put 2 in there, but I'm wondering if one of them could be a 1. If one of them is a 1 and one of them is a 9, then that would be a 9. And that would fix the position of this box. Ah, where's 9 in that box now? Again, once you've got all these 9s touching it, and there's a 9 up there. Ah, and there's a 9 all the way over there. That's a 9. Bingo. Boom. Yes, at last. Thank you. Look, this is a 4-5 pair. Because it can't be 1, 2, 3 and it's an arrow and it's Sudokuable, so at least we can do that. That's Sudoku, so we can knock the 4 out of these squares. No. It's very difficult. Oh, it's so difficult, you know, for this. Yeah, oh, I can see it. God, golly gosh, this is so complicated. Right, imagine this went here. Now, the question I want to ask, and I hope I know the answer to, is where is the 9 in this? Oh no, it can be there. Oh no. Alright, let's try it the other way. Maybe where's the 9 now? In this box. Boom. One of these 2 squares. Oh, I'm just totally wrong. I don't know what I think I saw then, but whatever it was wrong. I mean, there's a 9, I think, in one of these 2. That's not nearly clever enough to be worth mentioning, is it? Wow, okay, I don't know what... Okay, so if it is there, these are both 2, aren't they? If it goes here, then those 5 cells have to be filled with Fillomenos. Who cares? I think that's easy, isn't it? I mean, I don't think it really matters, but the 9, that can't be a 9, because that would be a 9, and that would clash. So the 9 in this region is in one of those 2 squares. It's just we don't know whether it could be in that one, which is so strange. Which always reminds me of the Coma by Guns N' Roses. Great outro. It's not, it can't be this line, can it? I'm just losing my mind here. 8. Yeah, okay. Where is 8 in this box? Look. It's in one of those 2 squares, actually. It's just a tiny point. Can we get rid of... there's no 3. Oh, no. There's no 3 on this line. Actually, maybe that's worth noting. There's a 3 down here by Sudoku. There is a 4 in one of those squares. But 4 could go on this line, I think. Okay, 2. Where's 2 in this row? Golly gosh, this is difficult. 2 is not there. 2 is not there. So 2 is in one of these. It can't be on here, because this Renban would have to be 2, 3, 4, and that can't be a 3, so that's a 2. I didn't clear fog though. I hope that's not wrong. If this is 4, that's 5, and this would be 6. Is there I don't think there's a problem with that. Maybe this row. What have we got as the options for that square? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 have gone. 5, 6, 7. But it's got to be 5, 6 or 7. It can't be 9, obviously. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. 5, 6 or 7. Yeah, okay. And maybe that square's interesting, is it? All I'm thinking is that square sees the whole of the Renban. And that Renban looks to me now, might be wrong, but it looks to me like it has to have a 5 on it. If it didn't have 5 on it, that would be 4, and that couldn't exist, because this would be higher than 5, and that would need to link it by being a 5. So that square is now not 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it could be 4, but it's not 5. So that square is 4, 6, 7, 8. But could it be 6? Is there a 6 on this Renban? If there was no 6 on it, what could it be, this Renban? It can't have 3 on it. So it is at least 4, 5, 6. So it has got 6 on it. So that's not 6. So this is 4, 7 or 8. And if it's got, hang on, if it's got 6 on it, and I know that's in one of those two squares, is that helpful? No. Don't be ridiculous. No, I don't think so. So we know it's got 5 and 6 on it, and then it's either got 4 or 7 on it. So what? This probably means this is an 8, but I'm not certain about that. Are there any more digits in this bottom row that we know the locations of? Not really. Six, 7 or 9 is the other digit. But we know 6 is on the Renban, so I know 6 is in one of these two positions. That's not helpful, is it? If oh, all right, hang on. Golly gosh, right. Where's that digit in this box? This digit here. Now it can't repeat on the Renban, and it's 4 or 5, so it can't go in the bottom row, because 4 and 5 have appeared there already. So that digit is there, so that digit is a 4 or a 5, and it's not an 8. Now has that moved 8 into the right places? Yes, this is now an 8. Good grief! Good grief, that's difficult. So these are the same. I'm actually going to give them a colour to try and record that fact for posterity. But now that digit. Where's that? Okay, so now where's that digit now in this box? It's not there, and it's not in the bottom row, and it's not the same as the green digit, and it's not 8, so it's there, and that means these two squares are both 5. Wow! Oh, it's correct as well. So that's 4, that's 4. There's nothing. We've not revealed anything. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I worked out there has to be 6 on here, didn't I? So that is now 6. That's 7. That's 5. Right, that's 7. That's 6. Okay, well that's a little bit of relief, to be honest, because at least I've unjammed myself from the pickle I was in. That's 9, that's 6. These squares are 1, 3, 7 in some order. and I still don't know anything about where these regions live. It is absolutely incredible how this has kept up its difficulty. Seriously incredible. Right, 5. Yes, where's 5 in the top box? By Sudoku, it's there. That revealed nothing, but at least it's a digit. This has got to have an odd digit on it. It's 3 or 7. And that's quite a... Oh, that's a... I don't know. If it's 3... Well, no, I'm still not sure, actually. I'm unsure about whether that's a sensible line of attack. That digit is a 3 or a 4, and it is on the dot down here. And that's good. That's good deduction. Yeah, because it's on the dot, and therefore the odd digit can't be 7 on here. It must be 3. So this is either 2, 3 or 3, 4. And that's not 4, and that's not 2. So this is very small. Oh, I see. No, there's a different way to do this. These two squares together, where are those two squares together in this box? 3, 6, 7. Well, the only place that one could be is down here. That must be 3, and then that one must be 4. So this is a 3, 4 pair, and we know the order. Wow. Wow. So that's not 3. That is a legitimate deduction. Oh, hang on. Oh, bother. I don't know what that... I still don't know. That's a 3. That is a 3 by the logic of nonsenses that we're being asked to perform here. So if that's Sudoku, that's going to fix a 1, 2 pair there. This is not a 3. If this is Sudoku, that's double 2, isn't it? How can this still not be giving up? These squares are 2, 6, 7. So this is right. That's 3. That's 4. That's 3. That's 7. That's 6. And slowly but surely, 3, 4. That's become 7. I didn't notice that. So this is a 3, 4 pair. Oh, I can't use that 3. I don't know if it's Sudoku. Bother. 4 there. That's 3. Right, there we go. That's 3. That's 4. So this must be... No, I don't know. I still don't know. That could be a 1 Fillomenon. No. That doesn't work now. So my concern before was I could have made this Fillomenon and make it a 1. And then this a 2, 1 pair to add up to 4. But now I don't think I can. Because if this is a 1, that has to be a 3. It can't be the same digit. And then it would already add up to 4. Oh, what am I talking about? I can ignore I actually know where the arrow goes now, so I don't have to worry about this square anymore. Simon, stop being silly. I'm just getting tired. Right, so this is a 1, 3 pair. So that can't... If this... No, that's wrong. It's so confusing. It is a 1, 3 pair. It is a 1... Well, no. Well, it is a 1, 3 pair, but do I know whether it's in the Sudoku or not? I don't know. I'm still not sure I do. I really am not sure I do. In this column, 1, 2, 6 and 7. So that square is a naked single 7. And that square is not 7. And that square is now 1. It'd be quite funny if you get a 3 in the corner down here, and the software won't understand that. That's now a 2, and that's now a 6. And we get 2, 7 here, which is still... That's resolved as well, actually. 2 and 7 are resolved. So it must be this column. That's 3, that's 7, that's 1. And that square is something, a 9. Hang on, 9. That was... Oh, no, that's not where we wanted it to be to determine this box, is it? Okay. So what's it going to... Oh, I don't know. This is so weird. I still need 3, 6 and 8. Oh, hang on. No, there's a 3 here. Sorry, if that was Sudoku, there'd be 2 3s in this row. So that's Sudoku. This is Fillomenon. Hopefully this will work. That's a 3. That's an 8. And that's a 6. And this is trapped. Right, this has done it, I think. Because we've trapped the Fillomenon in at size 7. So those are both 9s. And now what do we do? So now we've got a 3 in the Fillomenon. Oh, that's gorgeous. The 3 can't bump into itself in across that boundary. So those have got to be 3. And that leaves behind, look. Let's actually do the perimeter properly so that we're not. These are the last 2 digits. And that might be the solution to an absolute. We have beat Jay Dyer 2 hours 50. Is it right? Have I left out any digits? I don't know. I don't even know if the software will work here. Yes. 69 people have solved that. Well done to them. Wow. 69. Nice. Good grief. That is just so hard. That's just so hard. It's bonkers, Darth Paradox. You are the Darth Vader of Sudoku setters now, let alone the Darth Paradox. It is a paradox why you would set a 13 by 13 deconstruction in a fog puzzle. Yeah, and put Fillomenon regions in. But I mean, what's incredible is how good the puzzle was. That it's a great way to describe it. There was nothing absolutely monstrous about any individual step, but there were a lot of quite monstrous steps. And the way the puzzle held up and remained consistently as hard as it was at the start it's brilliant. It's quite brilliant. It is a phenomenon. Fillomenon is a phenomenon. There, I've said it now. I'm going to go and quietly weep. Let me know in the comments how you got on. Let me know if you still really do want to see videos like this. Maybe this is I don't know. This is beyond an extended edition, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.